Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spiritual View. We are so happy that you have joined us. If you're with us live, thank you so much for being here. All these lovely ladies are eager to share with you some learnings, and we're going to focus today a little differently than we do with our normal lives on Mondays and Fridays. This is our monthly session, which is actually more educational. And so if you're new to the channel, welcome. There are 7 of us, and 7 is a very spiritual and holy number. Someone pointed that out last week on one of our lives. And we do daily videos with content. We do lives on Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Monday and 6 p.m. on Fridays. And then we do once a month an educational session. So welcome to today, which is focused on really about learning. And we're focusing on the eclipse season. So whether you're watching this for the current eclipses that we have just experienced and the one that's upcoming, this is really a timeless video. So we just are thrilled and honored that you're with us and that we're learning together. We're going to go through a number of different aspects of looking at the eclipses from the astrological point of view, some of the myths. We're going to look at what does it actually feel like, the energies of the portal of the eclipse itself. We're going to be also talking about some really practical ways to harness the energy and work with the energy, some personal stories as well, and some self-reflection, and to look at the destiny of what we actually want to create, of how we use these eclipse energies to make us stronger as souls. We also today will be announcing a free drawing. We're not announcing. We are actually going to invite you. You need to be a subscriber, so please hit the subscribe button. But we'd love for you to make comments in the comment section, and we will be picking at random someone for a free reading, which will be announced next Friday. So I'm actually wanting everyone just to say hi. I'll start. I'm Suri. I don't even think I introduced myself. And again, we're just thrilled that you're here. And let's just go around and everyone say hello to get us started.
Hi, I'm Dawn. Welcome.
Hey, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here.
Hi, guys. It's Jen with the Awakened Jen Tarot.
Hi, it's Angie from Learn Love Tarot.
Hi, I'm Wendy. Nice to see everybody.
And I'm Marcia. Hello.
All right. So I think we've said hello. I think we've gotten everyone. So we've got a full hour jam-packed with lots of information. We're actually going not to pull cards today. We normally do on Fridays and Mondays. Today, what we're going to do, though, is after we get towards the end of having some dialogue from each of our readers around eclipse energy, we're going to take Q&As, and Marcia's going to facilitate that session. So when you have questions regarding the eclipse energies or the content that we're sharing, please put your questions in the chat, and we will have a Q&A session where we will do our best to answer your individual questions around whatever is on your mind about the eclipse energies. Again, just to introduce the concept, eclipses are an opportunity for us to really transform the energy of who we are and harness all the things that we need to release, all the things that we want to invite in as we transform and align to our soul's journey of why we chose to come here at this time on the earth. What a wonderful time it is for transformation. So there's an astrological perspective, but it's a lot about the energy. So we're going to be talking about all aspects of eclipses. So it's an opportunity to learn, to share what you know, ask questions. And again, please make your comments in the below section so that we can put you in for the free reading that we will announce next Friday. So I believe, Jennifer, I've got everything covered for now, correct?
Yes, except we're going to ground us.
We're gonna do a clear. Well, obviously, if I forgot that, then all right, everyone. So we're going to do our quick grounding. So I'm going to ask everyone just to take a deep breath, close their eyes, get settled in their chair. We're just going to clear us and ground us for our session. I'd like everyone to take a couple of nice, deep cleansing breaths in through the nose Big release out through the mouth. Again, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And we're just going to really relax and get grounded into our bodies, get grounded into Mother Gaia. I'm asking Archangel Michael to be here to protect our space. Always Archangel Raphael to help us on our healing journey and our transformation as souls. Archangel Gabriel to help us speak our truth to the authenticity of who we are. And we are going to allow this beautiful white light, I'm going to give it pink sparkles today, above our head. And it's going to gently come down through each of our chakras, starting at the crown, the top of the head, balancing, cleansing, aligning, moving down to the third eye to help open up our intuition and to have confidence in that knowing. Continuing to move down to the throat chakra, balancing, aligning, opening, allowing us to speak our truth. Moving down to the heart center, continuing down to the solar plexus, helping us tap into that beautiful joy that we can harness and experience. Moving down to the sacral, aligning, balancing, allowing that creativity to come through. Moving down to the root chakra, making us feel safe and secure. Moving down through the legs, the knees, the ankles, the feet, out the toes, and that white light with beautiful pink sparkles connects us all the way down deep into Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, grounding us in her sacred, beautiful energy. Feel the groundedness and the connection with the earth. That light comes back up to meet our feet, goes up through our ankles, knees, legs, moves its way back up one more time through the chakras, root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, crown. That light goes out from the top of our head up into the heavens to connect us with Source or God. And then that white light comes around each of us in this beautiful protective cone of light. All of our guides, our angels, the archangels are here to protect this space. And we ask that only the energy of the divine be with us today as we share our learnings and insights around eclipses. Our space and our energy is now ready to go. All right. And over to Dawn, who is going to start off today with more of an astrological perspective of the eclipse season.
Hello, I wanted to start out with some basic information about eclipses. They are fated, meaning that they're more than just a regular full moon or a new moon. They are there to guide you on your path and will do so in such a way that you will need to release and go with that energy as you're moving forward. To start with, full moon eclipses are very much about having something illuminated for you. There will be some maybe profound truths that are coming out, things that you needed to know along your path that are being shown to you. It is also very much about releasing energy. What happens is as we progress, we have different vibration and vibrational levels that we're at. And relationships that are no longer in line with where we are going and what we are supposed to be doing in our lives, they will change. And a lot of those relationships will be released. And sometimes this is a very good time to do things like cord cutting ceremonies and setting intentions for release of old energies. So it's very much about stepping away from what is no longer meant for you in this life as you move forward. Again, eclipses are fated energy. This past eclipse happened to be a North Node eclipse. So not only were we getting some illumination as to where we were going, we were also being shown where we should be going, because it's the North Node. That's where we're aiming our energy towards. And I think people had that very much illuminated in their path. It was a very emotional experience, I believe, for a lot of people, that there were truths that came out for people that they had to deal with and are still probably dealing with as we move forward from the full moon energy, and we're going to be headed toward the new moon energy. Now, for new moon, this is all about making things begin for you in your fated path. And this particular energy is with a South Node new moon. So it's very much like a Pluto energy, because in order for you to be able to use this new moon intention setting, let me correct that. You really don't get to set the intention in this. It's guiding you forward on your path. If you're off your path, it will put you back on your path. And if you're already on your path, you get a quantum leap forward as to what's going on with you. Now, because this is with the South Node, you have to give something up because it's South Node energy. So something has to go in order for you to begin something new. So I very much recognize that as being the same as Pluto energy in this particular instance, because Pluto is about clearing the way, getting something out of the way that shouldn't be there, and then bringing in something even better for you. So I want you to take this time in between the eclipse energy to realize what you have moved away from, what is no longer on your path, and what you're moving forward to, because a lot of that is going to be about you releasing something first before you get to go to the good stuff. So I want to hand this off to Elizabeth. She's going to be going over some energies about, I just want to make sure I say this right, exploring ancient myths and fears that people had about the eclipses and debunking some of that information. So Elizabeth, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dawn. That was really awesome. And I know what I need to let go of. So I really resonate with that. You're going to help me with the slides? Thank you. Do I add it to the stage? Ta-da. Okay, so you guys, we're going to take a deep dive into the darkness, the ancient myths, and how we view it today with a lot more light. And unfortunately, these aren't moving. But what I want to tell you, let me go back to here. Actually, let's go here. Sorry, guys. You know, as we delve into this, I do want you guys to see it as an opportunity for profound healing and alignment. So let's get into how they did this back in the day, because there was so much fear and mystery around it in the ancient civilizations. And really, many viewed it as bad omens, omens of doom, military defeat, really harbingers of change and chaos. In ancient China, which I wish you could see this moving, but it's an ancient dragon, and they believed that the dragon devoured the sun and moon. So they would come out with drums and pots and pans and create this huge ruckus to hopefully scare the dragon away and restore celestial balance to the situation. And similarly, in the late 10th century, and this is a wolf running, the Norse mythology believed that the wolf's skull, if I'm saying it properly, devoured the sun and moon. So they would also really fear this, and they actually saw it as an omen of Ragnarok, which is technically called the destruction of the world of gods and men in a final battle of evil. So Ra is the sun, and Ragna is a combination of sun and gods, where Rock is fate. So Ragnarok is considered the fate of gods, the twilight of gods. And typically this was preceded by 3 winters with no summer, would signify what they saw as this Ragnarok event that they tied closely to eclipses because there was so much fear built around this. Now, as we keep going back into ancient times, I hope I say this right, Thales Miletus predicted a solar eclipse, which kind of shifted things a little bit more to a scientific understanding. You guys know I can't say this. Let's just go with Galileo furthered these studies. But honestly, astrology and astronomy were seeded at this time, and they really still are such an ever-growing field. But I also want to relate this to the Greco-Roman world, where they used eclipses to oftentimes predict, and they would use priests to do this, which is interesting considering how we view that today, to predict the end of kings and so forth. Now, the Aztecs also would view this as ominous, and they would actually offer human sacrifices to restore some balance in their mind to what was going on about the things that they couldn't control or understand. And let me click through. That's a bit of a long one. As we know, even today, there's still a lot of fear as we look at some of the road signs and things I think we all experienced not too long ago, and some odd warnings, but a lot of excitement around the whole event. We still have a sense of our own superstitions about that. So that's why we're all here to help guide everyone, including ourselves, through this experience and to really shine the light from within, because this darkness just created such a fear. Now, as I look at my notes, let me continue on. I want to go into now how astrology really played a part in this. And I would like to say that the fear, this is supposed to be rolling, really cool astrology video, but the fear led to curiosity, and the curiosity led to a lot of information. And I have lost my place. Hold on 1 second. Yes, led to this curiosity. And I want to say that it was Thales of Miletus that predicted a solar eclipse, which really led to this more scientific point of view. And then the Greco-Romans started to use it in politics and a lot of events, and even in daily life like we do today. And as I mentioned, it's really grown in technology and precision and popularity. And let me move through these. Part of the spiritualness of the eclipse is where the sun and moon and earth all come in alignment. And that is part of the purpose of what we do now with modern astrology. But I did want to make a point of incorporating ancient symbolism, ancient symbols that we still use today and help us tap into that ancient wisdom and also really enter our own light that Suri even brought into us today, and some of these ancient symbols that are so wonderful in spiritual practice. Now, I don't know who actually, it's the origins are unknown of viscous Pisces. I hope I'm saying that right. But this symbol is quite amazing. It really is the source of energy and the source of creation coming together to create the womb of the universe. So a lot of the symbology and following stars and planets helped the ancient cultures and civilizations understand why so much of their routine was changed at times like this and what it meant. And this is the Merkaba, which I saw coming down with pink sparkles today, Suri. And these are some of the symbols that I love to learn more about and understand that are ancient that we use in modern times. The Merkaba, this viscous Pisces, the flower of life, which really they all fit into and makes up everything about us. And I really think that's so enlightening. And the dodecahedron. And it's just, like I said, something to help empower you, enlighten you, lift you, lighten your heart, absorb a lot of love, and understand the personal nature of all of this, but coming together collectively too. And also, when you do this personally, your frequency and vibration ripples out to everybody around you that matters to you and collectively. So it's important. And some of the ways that are typical that we talk about are letting go, as Dawn mentioned, really behaviors, things, people, places that no longer serve you. Embracing the stillness is important then and now, because that's where you really tap into your spirituality. And the candlelight meditations remind me also, they bring light and calmness and peace in this sense of darkness that has led to a lot of fear. I want to mention that Wendy has some candlelight magic in a video that she did not long ago. And we all absolutely believe in getting out in nature and really tapping into the rhythms during the eclipse is also very important. And again, getting out and enjoying some collective energy meditations that raise our collective energy. Now, let me double check my notes because I do want to explain some other spiritual practices you guys might enjoy regarding our frequencies, our vibrations, and how to raise them. So when we talk about the human body, the human brain has around a frequency of 100 megahertz. There are 5 different levels within that measurement, delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. They all have their own frequencies, but overall 100 megahertz. Now, somewhere between 60 and 70 is the average megahertz of the human body. If you go below 70, you're possibly immune compromised. And if you get down to the frequency of 25, you're closer to death. So it's very important to think of ways to protect and cherish your vessel and raise your vibration. I love essential oils. It's been part of my life for a long time. And there are 7 here that I can mention quickly that will also increase your frequency. And they make for great spiritual practices of all sorts for your environment and your body. So rose is 320 megahertz, also associated with love, compassion, really helps you open up your heart. And because it's such a high frequency, It's very helpful in that regard. It's also helpful for insomnia, antidepressant, and stress relief. Frankincense is 150 approximately megahertz, imparts peace, relaxation, deeper connections to the divine. And as we go down a little bit, lavender offers calmness, reduces stress and anxiety, and is very conducive to your environment of spiritual practices. Now, clary sage is wonderful too for emotional balance, calmness, and spiritual enlightenment. That's at about 105 megahertz. It's also may benefit depression, muscle cramps, and hot flashes. Just thought I'd throw that in there. And then sandalwood is 96 megahertz. This grounds and centers, is often used in meditation and enhances clarity and awareness. And then as we go down to lemon is 96. That also offers a clarifying effect. It's invigorating, and it also offers a clarity and awareness, similarly to peppermint, which is very clarifying. It's also very good for indigestion and possibly headaches. So I thought I'd throw that in there. Now, while we're looking at ancient oils that have been around forever, let's talk about the clothes. The clothing that we wear is pretty important. And linen is very, very, very high frequency at 5,000 megahertz. That's why you often see shamans wearing this type of material, this natural, beautiful, breathable material. Cotton is 100 megahertz. Obviously, it's also breathable, it's more comfortable, and it has hyperallergenic properties. And then we can talk about hemp also, which is 80 megahertz. It's more durable and eco-friendly, sustainable. Silk is 10 megahertz, although very luxurious, is nowhere near the level of vibration that linen is. And then lastly, wool is very important for insulation and moisture wicking at 5 megahertz. So it's something to think about, the clothes that you wear and how it may affect your frequency, your biofield, your energy of your biofield. And so just to kind of go over something I talked about is even today, understanding the fear factors that I think we all saw a little bit of that with the eclipse that we went through. And there's a sense of fear right now. So I'm glad we're doing this, because we're going to come up with all this great wisdom of not having fear be part of this. And it is important to do the inner reflections. Journaling is great, as well as all the other things I mentioned, the meditations and exercise of all sorts, I think is really important to reduce anxiety, fear, and stress all the time. Now, the eclipses are really amazing for spiritual connections, these life changes, and getting you ready for a lot of newness in your life and collectively. And lastly, it really is a chance for you to harness a lot of transformative power and embrace the energy of this beautiful eclipse season. And I am thrilled to turn this over and learn more. We have Angie up now, who is going to speak about what this all means, the energetic weather, the feel of it. So thank you. And Angie, take it away, sweetheart.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you again so much for being here. We really do appreciate all the love and support that you share with us and the energy. I do have some pretty simple slides prepared. I don't want to insult anyone with the simplicity of them, but I thought, you know what? Sometimes people might not know what's the difference between a solar and a lunar. So and how that relates to the new moon, full moon. So I thought we'd go into that, and also just for a little bit of a review, and then how eclipses really are a whole portal to a new energy. Okay. And if we can see them, yes, they can be difficult, but if we can see them as opportunities, right? And even kind of changing our view of even the word change, because that does feel a little bit scary. So I've proposed that we change the word change to growth. So that sounds a lot less scary than change does. So we'll look at the next slide here for just a little bit of a review. So on the left side, as Liz mentioned, so with the difference between, she was talking about new moon and new beginning. So full moons, okay, are only events, a lunar eclipse is only possible on a full moon, okay? So if you want to think F and F, full moons we forgive. And I've explained it as our energetic lunar roller coaster. When we're at the top of the coaster, okay, that is when we can see the whole amusement park beneath us, and we have a clear view of what's going on around us. Whether we like that view or not, whether we see some rides in the distance that are broken down, or whether we notice there's some bottlenecking with too many people, we need to create some more space, kind of use it as a metaphor for life. And that helps simplify the difference between full moons and new moons. Now, if you want to also think about it, if you are a tactile learner and you use your hands to learn more, I know I'm opposite here in my camera, but when the moon is full of light, right, it's at its fullest, we wax the light on. So for me, it's when I'm looking and I'm outside and I'm looking, the dark side of the moon, you go, okay, dark side of the moon, whatever side the light is on, put your hand there. Okay. So if you put your hand on the light, you're either turning the light down or you're turning the light up. And you can go ahead and do that at home because nobody can see you, but it does help you commit to memory when you're using your hands for something. Okay. So we're turning the light down and we're turning the light on, wax off. When we're at the top of that roller coaster, our emotions are heightened. We can be more emotional. And then comes the important part of, we're at the top, we're going to come down no matter what. What goes up must come down. And we're either going to throw our arms up and be like, yes, this is amazing. It's our Empress energy at the height of the full moon. And on our way down the coaster, we surrender. So think about in a coaster. I mean, I used to hang on for dear life. I don't enjoy roller coasters anymore. But when I was little, I would throw my hands up when it was fun and when I did enjoy it. You have to either enjoy the ride that you get because you built it. And if you don't like what you got, then we need to make plans on this way down. It's part of it. How can we tweak if we saw that the coaster over across the way was broken down? If that needs a little more space, what do we need to clear out? What isn't serving a purpose anymore? We do all the things. We do all that planning and reviewing on the way down. The focus on a full moon, we want to have gratitude, okay? Even if things are not going our way, we want to still be in that feeling of, I can still think about things that I am grateful for, because we want to stay in the feeling of that energy. And think about when you release your hands and surrender. Surrendering includes forgiveness. So that's when we do our Ho'oponopono. If you've never tried that before, there's tons of stuff on YouTube. You can Google it, and there's a lot of different flavors and varieties there. Now, when we add an eclipse energy to it, Okay, so now we're still going down on the full moon. We add another layer of energy with the lunar eclipse. Okay, that is events that can symbolize closure. What rides are we closing down? Where do we need to heal? Forgiveness is part of healing. Okay. And that's to help us heal for ourselves. And if we think a full moon is like boohoo city sometimes, I know my emotions are always heightened with a lot of water placements in my chart. This is like on steroids. It's exponential when we layer in that flavor of the eclipse energy. It's even more frenetic. Okay. So give yourself a little break. Know that energy is going to subside. And just know that with that extra layer, if you're already sensitive to full moons, okay, I usually want to stay in and not be bothered and not bother anybody else. But when it's an eclipse, oh, buddy, think of it as, again, it's on steroids, it's exponential. Okay, so it's an extra layer of energy. Now, on the next slide, there's with new moons, those only can happen during solar eclipses can only happen during a new moon. Okay, the new moon after we get down to the bottom. So if we're going back to our word fun, new moon is manifest. Okay, new is newness, new beginnings. Okay, it's the bottom of the roller coaster, the dark side of the moon. It's when we turn the light down on the moon. Okay, so if you're facing the moon and we have the dark side on the right, we'll use our left hand to turn the knob down. Okay, so we're waxing off. And then in that action there, we initiate new beginnings. We've already been releasing and letting go. And when we get there, here we manifest. How do we want to change our experience of the ride that we got last time? And then we tweak. Okay. What do we want when we manifest? We want to focus on the feeling of what we do want and not what we don't, because then that energy is going to multiply itself, right? Energy attracts energy. Then when you add the flavor of the eclipse energy to it, again, it's exponential. It's going to feel even stronger than a regular new moon would feel. This is the time to take advantage of that whole new energy. It really is fated and destined for us to make these shifts at this time. Okay. We are making new commitments, a whole new beginning. We're initiating a whole cycle. Okay. So the eclipse energy really initiates and closes out life cycles. Okay. And this is big time outward transformation is possible when we really commit our energy to what we want to create. Because when we're at the bottom of the coaster, we are all the way now moving from the feminine energy down to the masculine energy. And think about it. We are building the tracks, that masculine emperor energy, as we're going up to the top again. And we release and let go feminine energy on the way down. Okay, I hope that makes sense for everybody, and I hope that helps, and I hope that was not too simplistic. The next slide, I want to talk about in particular, again, when think of eclipses as portals. You are stepping through to a whole nother way of being. It's a whole nother door. It's like, what's hiding behind door number 2? Let's go check this out. Okay. Let's make a deal. You got to make the deal with yourself, and you got to decide if I'm going to go back through the same door that I already went through. I will probably, if it wasn't working out great for us, I'm going to have universal energies giving me a push and giving me signs by way of resistance that continue to show me, look, kid, this ain't working out for you. That's what the resistance energy does. It brings these little snags and snafus along the way to try to get us to go there little bits at a time. But when those eclipses hit, it's like, now it's go time. And we can make that a lot easier on ourselves if we're following those niggles along the way. Now, with the nodal eclipses, they are hitting this North Node eclipse in Pisces. It points to where we find happiness and fulfillment. Okay. And then when we hit that Libra new moon, we're going to be compelled to stay down in that South Node energy. So this is where you would want to pull out your birth chart, and you want to look at where that 25 degrees, 40 minutes, or 26 degrees Pisces is in your chart. And if we're going to open door number 2, okay, that North Node that we just had, that nodal eclipse, is going to point to where we can find happiness and fulfillment. If that last door was not working, if we're not enjoying the ride that we're getting from the coaster that we built, it's time to step totally into that new portal and door number 2. Okay. Looking at your chart will show you the life area that's most going to be relevant for you in. Now, when we hit that South Node eclipse energy in Libra, and your chart is going to be right across the hallway, wherever that is for you, the sister energy there. Excuse me, not the sister energy, the opposite energy. You're going to be looking at the Libra side of your chart, because our South Node in Libra is there currently. Okay. Where we may feel compelled to stay in those behavioral patterns. It's like, no, we don't want to go. Well, again, we're going to get those little nudges that we may not enjoy so much. Our eclipse in April, that was really, really heavy. That was hitting the nodes. Okay. It was hitting the North Node in Aries. Now, this nodal eclipse that we just had in Pisces, so looking at your chart, that's going to give us a little hint there of what January of 25 to, I think it's in February of 27, of how those energies are going to play back and forth together. That eclipse was the first one hitting the nodal energies in Pisces in almost 2 decades. It's the beginning of a new story, okay, about what we are called to initiate. What is behind door number 2? We spent from July of 23, we're still in that North Node of Aries, South Node of Libra energy. That's a story. That may be that door number 1 that we've been experiencing back and forth. Door number 2, we just initiated these eclipse energies from January to February of 27. That's what's going to be playing back and forth. Okay. So just to help you understand, I hope, a little bit more of what this whole new story it is. They're growing pains. If you remember growing pains when you're a kid, it really does physically hurt, right? It's painful. Growth can be painful, but we can also look at it through a lens of it's exciting. We are building a whole new ride that has never been invented before, because it's an opportunity to transform something, a new invention, and be anybody we want to be. You are the creator of your own story. Okay. Now, just note now how we can use that energy of that story. Note in your life, if I know everybody's feeling some kind of way, or a lot of people are, try to pinpoint where we are feeling more heightened in our energies, what may be feeling more frantic, okay? And then we're going to figure out, well, what can we implement then to prevent that energy in the future? Because we're on our way down and we're reviewing the ride that we just got. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit there. And when we come up to this release energy with Libra at the 10 degrees. Again, you're going to be looking at that for the beginning of October. Remember that the eclipse energy, the takeaway is its transformation and growth. If we don't like the word change, fine. Transformation and growth. And with it being in Pisces, what that started a new story of all the spirituality you've been seeing in all of our readings this week, you guys, it's in incredible. This, when you look back and you synthesize those themes, we're all pulling on that energy because that's what the energy is, right? So we're seeing a lot of this spiritual awakening, tapping into our spirituality. And it's asking us too to, how can we bring in this new sense? If this is new to you, how can I then ground that in practicality? Okay, so I hope that helped you a little bit or a lot, and I hope it wasn't too simplistic or the opposite direction. I hope not of too complicated, but I hope you learned something new today. I've already learned a ton of stuff already. So thank you, my team, for giving me some notes to write down tonight. And we are up with Wendy is up next.
Thanks, Angie. Actually, your slides are great because that'll help people to know when to do the things that I'm going to go over. So I'm going to give you guys some practical ways that you can work with Eclipse Energy. First, I'm going to talk about journaling. So I'm going to give you guys some journaling prompts that you can use. First, you want to really reflect, okay, how where you are, what's been happening, that kind of thing. So here are some prompts for you for journaling. What's trying to get your attention? Okay. What's annoying you or making you feel irritated? What are you afraid of? What blocks are you holding on to? What has been showing up recently that you want to release? What parts of your life feel ready to shift? What areas of your life feel complete? How can you celebrate your accomplishments and thrive? It doesn't all have to be just about the change that we want to make. We also need to reflect and see how far have we come, right? Then I want you to visualize and think about what you want your life to be. And this is included in the journaling part. So in 3 months, in 6 months, a year, 2 years. So you want to flesh that out in your journal and write that out. What do you want your life to be? And don't be afraid to dream big, okay? And then I want you to write down your intentions, big or small. Just try to keep it simple with a few words to make your intent very clear. And that's a good practice to have too, if you start to do rituals and things, which I'll go over in a little bit. And then lastly, you're going to want to release your intentions to the universe, which can be as simple as just saying it out loud. Okay. Or again, doing something with some kind of a ritual. So another thing that you can do is meditation, of course, and visualization. You want to do these exercises to connect with your higher self and destiny. I would say one of the most important things with those is making sure that you are grounded. And you can get grounded in different ways with going, I think of grounding as earth energy. So whether you use crystals or stones, or you go out in nature and you take off your shoes and walk through the grass, you can also do it by, if you want to do do a smudge and clear any negative energy away from you. If that helps you to ground that energy and clear your chakras, you can certainly do that as well. You want to allow yourself to be open to the positive energy that wants to come in. Okay. So in that meditation and visualization exercises, you want to be clearing any blocks that you have, and so that you can be open to allow that good energy to come in. If you want to do a ritual, I associate that with release, right? Releasing your intentions into the universe. I like to bring in kind of the 4 elements. So again, I would say if you can get grounded, that's really important. Have that earth energy. You can, again, use crystals and stones to do that. If you're using a candle, then you're using fire energy, right? And you can use a candle like this. You could even use a little tiny birthday candle if you want to, okay? It doesn't have to be a big candle. In fact, with candle magic, I would say you usually want to have the candle lit and you want to let it burn all the way down. So this one's going to take just a few minutes. This one's going to take, maybe half an hour to an hour. And then any bigger ones, you want to be careful because you don't want to leave a lit candle, just burning and you can't keep it attended. So you want to keep it attended and let it burn all the way down. And you can use things like what Liz was saying with anointing oils. You can do that with candles. You can even, if you write down your intentions, you can write it down. You can write it in the candle or on the candle if you want to. You can write it on paper. You could, if you get something safe to burn it in, you could burn the paper to release and let go, and let that intention go out into the world. You can set the candle in water to also have water energy. I also, with the doing the candle stuff, if you can really get all 4 elements, because you can ground yourself, set out crystals and stones. You have the fire of the candle being lit. You can put the candle in water, and you have the meditation of your breath. You have air energy as well. So then you're kind of hitting all 4 elements there. And then with your, also with the meditation, you're also hitting the 5th element of the spiritual side of things. So you're really boosting that intention, and you setting your intention is one of the most important things, just knowing what it is that you want to release and put out there. Because what you're putting out there is absolutely what you're going to be attracting back to you. So I hope that helps with everybody. And Jen is going to be sharing a personal experience with us next. Thank you.
Okay, you guys have done amazing. So much wonderful information. I am super nervous. So I'm going to be sharing a very personal story tonight that is connected to how an eclipse really did change my life and put me into my destiny. So in March 2015, I had a massive bilateral pulmonary embolism. And it caused me to stop breathing for an unknown amount of time. And I did have a near-death experience in that moment. And so I know that a lot of people may not know what a pulmonary embolism is. So it is blood clots in the lungs. And I didn't know what it was either when it happened to me. So I do have some slides to show you just a little bit more. So this is from the CT scan of the embolism. So this is just one of the slides, and you can see this is the clot and how far down it goes into my lungs. This is another view because it was inside of both of my lungs all throughout. And so you can see how far up and how far down. That big white thing in the front is my heart. My heart did get enlarged through this event. This is showing you kind of looking down, and you can just see how it spread all throughout my lungs. And those are the blood vessels of my lungs, and that's all filled up with blockages. And then this just shows you just kind of an overall of many of the views of it. So what I learned after talking with Dawn this year is that it was actually the day before that happened to me, there was a total solar eclipse. And it wasn't just any total solar eclipse. It was at 29 degrees Pisces. That is the very last sign of the very last degree of the zodiacal wheel. And when things hit that degree, that's massive. That is massive, massive endings and beginnings. And so I actually am going to have Dawn share my chart and kind of go over what she saw as we were going over it. Okay, you're muted, Dawn.
I can speak. There we go.
Yay.
Taking a look at this chart, Jen was 35 years old at the time that this happened. She had just had her birthday, and that would be putting her in this 12th house axis. It would be on her health axis of things unseen as well over in this area of the chart. So there were several planets that were very strongly activated in her chart at the time. Saturn, because it rules that 12th house in her perfection year. The moon, because it's also underneath Saturn's rule. And she had her sun degree. Jen, what is your sun degree exactly? I don't have it on me.
I think it's 21.
Right. So that actually, because that's a personal planet of hers, and especially the physical body would be the moon, your ascendant, and the sun are very, very personal to you. The fact that this was right on top of her sun was just incredible. And it definitely was something that was going to be affecting her. And her most malefic planet is Saturn. And right across from her sun is Saturn over here in Virgo, right? So there were several other things going on in her chart that day that actually got activated by that new moon. Remember, I told you the moon was activated in her chart for the year. She had, as you can see here, Uranus. On the day of her birthday, on her solar return, she had Mars and Uranus both at 15 degrees. 15 degrees. That's a very important degree in the chart. And that was squaring Pluto up here in the chart. So we're talking about something super transformational. And in her particular area of the chart too, she had Saturn in this area of the chart squaring the energy of her north node here. Look at this energy here. The north node and Mars that are right here. So Mars and Saturn are malefic planets. So there was so much energy there of things that could go wrong. And you have the moon that just would have had that lunar, that solar eclipse. I'm sorry, solar would be when they're together. The moon was moving across all of these degrees and igniting those degrees up. Over these all of these transiting planets. It went over Uranus, it went over the Mars that was then at 21 degrees, and then continued on. So this all got activated with that moon transiting through after it just had completed that energy of the eclipse on a very personal planet for her. So there was a lot of things going on at that time. And again, you can see this is a 29 degree, her in the area of health, because it's the 6th house. So her north node is in the 6th house here. So she was very fortunate to have actually survived this. I think we took a look at a couple different things for her. One of the things that helped was she had Venus was in a trine to this area of the chart. I think we discussed that too, Jen, that Venus is your most malefic planet, and that actually helped you with this survival of this devastating, because it also went to your brain, did it not? The pulmonary
It
embolism?
did. It affected my heart, lungs, and brain. Yep.
Right. So very much it hit so many different areas of her chart just because of the planets that were involved in it, but it really got set off at that time of that eclipse on her sun.
And I do want to say the area that got impacted on my brain was right beside the pineal gland. So I feel like it broke it wide open.
Well, Uranus was actually super involved, the transiting Uranus and your natal Uranus, because your natal Uranus being up here also would have been in a square to the node here. So just a lot of different energies out there.
So I just wanted to show just how it can be seen in a personal chart. Because I mean, that just like, once I saw it, that just blew me away. I already knew that moment, like just because I survived it, there was purpose, out of that. But seeing it like that just makes it just that much more impactful to me. I do know that it put me on my purpose and mission, and I had no idea in that moment, where it was headed. And I saw somebody said about Eliquis. Actually, I don't take any medicines for it. I had also bleeding issues before, so I was only on the blood thinners for 9 months, and then they took me off of it. So I don't have any residual anything anymore. So I did up until I had my spiritual awakening. After my spiritual awakening, like everything just seemed to go away. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move over to Marsha.
Okay. Myself, hello, everybody. Wow, okay. I want to take a couple of breaths. That was pretty harrowing story there, Jen. So I could see in the comments. And if I can, I do want to segue with another personal experience. It did to me, but it happened to a client of mine where an eclipse set off a series of events for her that culminated into her finding out a deep, saddening truth about her husband that catapulted or was a catalyst to their relationship ending. It came in a time in her life where she had been a stay-at-home mom and her children were now off to college. So she was very empty in as far as an empty nester. I mean, I couldn't, those words just had a lot of power for her. But what ended up happening is she said she found solace in going into a meditative state in her kitchen and getting back into baking. The work of working, with her hands kept her grounded. She felt connected to her ancestors. One thing led to another, and she started a small little homestead bakery out of her house and ended up taking on a client who she made these little cake pops for. But the cake pops happened to be in the figure of a little Cupid doll. And her client had told her that the Cupid doll, she gave her something to, not a portrait, but a little figurine of it. And she had told my friend that this Cupid doll came out of a gumball machine in 1973. And it had a special connection to her and her mother. And her mother was now suffering with dementia. But she thought that this would be a wonderful connection because the Cupid doll was found in her mother's jewelry box all these years later. The daughter didn't even know she had kept it. So obviously it had meaning. So my friend put together these, and I'm sorry, this is totally off script, but my friend put together these little Cupid dolls, takes it to the mother, or takes it to my friend. And it facilitated a moment of connection between the woman and her mother that was vivid. It was lucid. There was connection. There was closure for a relationship that had gone off the rails. And so you just never know what events are going to take place that will put you on your path. So I want to kind of touch on how this eclipse energy, just in the example of Jen's story and the story of my friend, can really move us along our path to our destiny. And I know that's a very big concept for a lot of people. And you're like, well, what even is my destiny? And it can be something as profound as what happened with Jen, or also as profound, but as simple as what happened to my friend. And, just reconnecting with who she was on the inside and the things she loved. She now has a thriving business, right? Where she was a stay-at-home mom. And so all those things just fell into place. And what it made me realize, and this is what I'd like to pass along to you, is that mastering that alchemy so as to be an outward expression of the things that bring you joy. And that is your destiny. I'm going to say that again. Mastering alchemy so as to be the outward expression of the things that bring you joy. When you do that, you are fulfilling your destiny, and it ripples out. Sometimes we see this in big ways with people. but it happens in the everyday moments of our lives. So I also want to remind people that, or offer, I should say, that one of the cornerstones, and other people have attested to it here as well, one of the cornerstones of my spiritual practice is simply to observe and observe the universe, observe the seasons we're in. What is this time calling for? The macro and the micro, and how these, how they operate in cycles of birth and growth and death and renewal, and flowing with that, and synthesizing that into the natural cycles of my own spiritual journey. This time of year, we're kind of bringing in the harvest, closing things down, getting ready to rest and go into the winter season. And so these eclipses, this time and it many times, let me see, there we go, offer us a time for deep reflection. So I'm just going to go through these somewhat quickly, and then we'll leave a link down below to a PDF of this, and you can download it for yourself and take a look at it at your leisure. But first of all, and especially at this time of year, eclipses offer us a time to really cultivate balance and honor natural rhythms and cycles. So I want to leave you with some questions that hopefully provoke something in you to take a closer look at your own spiritual journey. But first of all, so what are some daily practices that you can cultivate to bring inner balance and alignment? We've heard many of those here tonight. But another one that's very important, I think ties into what Wendy said, is, am I present enough to understand the language of my soul? And just sit with that in quiet meditation. And then what steps can I take to honor and recognize these natural rhythms? Another part of eclipses that we've heard everybody kind of mention is things ending, things beginning. And we are such personal beings, right? Our personal relationships, these one-to-one relationships, even casual relationships, they have such an impact on us, individually and collectively. So it's a time to really assess relationships and look at the ones, kind of assess them in columns of the ones that feel harmonious and then the ones that feel imbalanced. And then ask yourself, do I want to bring these into some kind of equality? Start there. Some of them you don't, and it's okay to let them go. And ask yourself if there's an energetic alignment within and without in terms in the context of that relationship. Is it lopsided? Those are ones that you may not want to continue pouring energy into. Another thing I would invite you to do is explore the concept of harmony. And what does peace and harmony mean in the context of my life, right? What are some thoughts and activities that naturally bring me to a state of harmony and joy? Okay. And then how can I invite harmonious serendipity into all the areas of my life? Magic is there for the taking. Okay. It is about your perception and harnessing the magic that exists within you and within the world right around you. In this time and going forward, and in the next couple of months especially, I think many of us are going to feel called to confront injustices in our home life, in corporate life, at the school, in our neighborhoods, and even on a much larger global scale. And so this is a time where you can really ask yourself, are there situations in your life or in the world where you personally feel called to stand up for fairness and justice? And if you don't, can you hold space and offer support to those that do? How can I use my voice and actions in a positive impact? And so if you don't feel called, you can hold the space, the energetic space of harmony and joy, okay? It does have an impact. And we've heard this many times. I can't say it enough. Release and let go. It's sounds such simple words. We've all been through it. We know it requires just some focused concentration, but ask yourself what is naturally being brought into your awareness that no longer brings you joy. And not just that it no longer brings you joy, just what naturally in the cycle of things is coming into your awareness that you're just not interested in anymore. You don't want to pour any more into it. How can you release these things with love and gratitude, right? We want to just send them off so they can fulfill themselves, whatever it is, in their own path. And finally, and we've said this, I want you to be intentional, patiently intentional about this. You can set intentions for the next 6 months and beyond, and ask yourself, what intentions can I set that align with the energies of serendipity? That's a big word for me. I want you to believe in that magic, balance, harmony, and equality. And then watch the magic unfold. It absolutely will. And with that, you guys, we want to open it up to some Q&A with you all in the chat there. And so if you have questions for anybody specifically or any of the topics mentioned tonight, we're not going to specifically be pulling cards or pulling charts, or we'll just see kind of what we get called to. But very, very, very early on in the chat, I saw a question from Trish Taylor. And I don't know if Trish is still here. There it is. Is there a way to tell if your third eye is opened? And wow, Trish, that is a fantastic question. I do believe there is, and I will turn this over to anybody else. But first, let me chime in and say that when I began to understand the sensation of my guides giving me a clear signal. So, I have sensations in the bodies. I have a hunch. I have, all kinds of stuff. But when my guides were first, I could feel like a tapping. For me, that was what came through with me. And I would itch the front of my forehead. I'm like, what is that? But beyond, for me, that physical sensation, there is a clarity that comes to you, a clarity of, oh my gosh, the worldview that I had before this moment was so small. And the world just kind of opens up to you. I also recall at that time having the most vivid dreams of my life. So I think those would be some signs and signals that third eye is opening up. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, you can also check your chakras and see if your third eye chakra is open. If you have a pendulum that is round, you can hold it in front of your third eye, and if it swings in a circle, you don't swing with your hand, you just hold the string, and if it's still, then your chakra is closed. If it starts to swing in a circular motion, then your chakra is open. And you can actually, if you find that it is closed, then it's helpful if you have someone with you who can do like kind of a guided meditation with you. But you can work on focusing on that energy and opening your chakra. Mm-hmm. And then when you go over it again, you'll see that it has opened. Anybody else?
I love that. That's fascinating. Yeah. And super practical. We can all do that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would also share, I see pictures, even with my eyes closed. It's almost like a video. And sometimes I will have pictures of people or places or colors. And so my intuition will be very heightened, but even with my eyes closed, I can still see. It's almost like my eyes are open, and I see. I can just tell that the third eye is kind of blown apart, and sometimes it's when I'm coming awake in the morning. And at times it might be in meditation. At times it could be right before I go to sleep, but it's when I'm really relaxed is when I notice it the most. And I didn't know what it was. And I had to ask someone, and they were like, oh, that's your third eye opening. I didn't understand when I was experiencing it for a long time, that that's actually what it felt like and looked like. For some people, I would only describe it to me, but I see pictures in people, even with my eyes closed, very vivid. And sometimes they're connected to people I will meet that I haven't met yet, people that come into my life, or dreams, like someone else has mentioned. So that might be another manifestation that you might experience.
Anybody else? Oh, there's Jen.
Oh, Jen, you're muted.
Okay. Sorry. I've got a cool party trick that you can use to tell if your third eye is open. I'm not sure if this is valid or not, but it's pretty cool if you want to try it out. So I have a quarter, and you put your focused energy right here at your third eye. And so you're going to just set it right here. And oops. Okay, I'm nervous. So if you are not connected, it will fall off. And so there's your proof that it will fall off. Okay. So you just put your focused energy there, and it's like this magnetic pull that makes it stick to your third eye. Again, I don't know if it's valid, but you saw it fall off of me when I was not connected to it. So I would say just try it. All right.
Okay, do we have any other questions that I may have missed? I know everybody's been chatting with each other tonight in the chat. We love you guys. What a wonderful community we've built in the chat there. You guys are also supportive of each other and us.
I would like to ask Wendy where she gets her candles, because I've looked everywhere, but the birthday candle idea was fantastic. I was like, yes, that's a great idea, because then they're small. And if you're just doing like a daily thing, or you're just wanting to do, you already have your writing done and your manifestations, you're already prepared. If you're shorter on time or whatnot, I love the candle idea, but I can't find the
Angie,
little
look,
stick
look.
ones.
Look, Angie. This company is called Michael Grace Gifts, and they're mindful moments: relax, release, renew, rejuvenate. And they're these little candles like that. Can you guys see? And it comes with the little thing to put it in.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's a really cute thing. And there's a little saying here where you put the candle. So that is, again, Michael and Grace Gifts. Someone sent this to me, and I thought it was so cool and sweet. So thank you. I just wanted to share that with all of you.
Yeah, I'm sure there are metaphysical stores where you can get candles and things. You can also make your own candles if you know how. But for people who are just starting, a really great thing you can do, where you can find in almost any grocery store, is Shabbos candles.
Yeah.
And that's these kind of medium-sized ones. And white is also really good to start with if you're beginning, because yes, you can get colored candles, but they have different meanings. And with the white one, it's kind of a clean slate, and you can give it whatever intent you want. Okay. And so, and again, there's all these, different things that you can do with it, with anointing them or writing on them and things like that. So it's a really good place to start with white candles.
Hey, Wendy, real quickly, we had another question about the pendulum and whether the round pendulum as opposed to another shape. That was important.
As long as it's round on the bottom, you just don't want it sharp. So you don't want like a point, because it's actually, what's really good is if you can lay down and you have someone holding it over you at the different points on your body where your chakras are. And you don't want to pointing down to your chakras. So you want it to be smooth,
Right.
and
So
rounded on the bottom.
So this would not be what you want to use for the exercise.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You want it to be smooth.
This is what not to do, people.
But if it's like a teardrop where it's round on the bottom and pointed on the top, that totally works. That's fine.
This one's a little bit of an egg shape. Can you see? It's
And
not
that would
as
be fine.
pointed.
It's but it's
yeah,
rounded.
I love this one.
But it's rounded. So
Okay.
you just don't want a sharp point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this one. Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Wendy.
Sure.
Well, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Sari.
All right.
To kind of close us out.
Thank you. And ladies, thank you for sharing all this wonderful and beautiful information, and for all the comments and support in the chat. I've just been looking at the chat and just amazed at some of the insights and sharing that's happening. So all of us are on a journey, and I think this information is timeless. So go back and listen to things that might resonate for you. And again, some personal insights from all of us around what has been our experience during this eclipse season. But it's a wonderful time. And Dawn, I think you said at one point, there's a piece of this that the energy is almost faded. It's such large energy. And if we know that there are fated or destined opportunities for all of us, how do we actually harness the energies to align our soul with the journey of why we chose to come here? So at the end of the day, if we can actually harness that energy, and if we look at journaling and using the rituals and all the things that we talked about, and people sharing their collective stories of what's worked for them, it's a beautiful time of transformation. And again, we're here just to share what we've learned, and we're all here together to share and to grow together as one community. Again, just to close us out, please make sure that you comment in the comment section and subscribe so we can put you in the drawing that we will announce next Friday on our Friday Live. But for today and moving forward, please use this video and the information however it resonates for you. We are very grateful for all of you. We send you lots of love, peace, and harmony for the weeks ahead, because as a couple of our ladies stated, we are between two eclipses right now. So the energy is quite heightened. But look at this time between now and October 2nd as a really great time for setting intentions, releasing what no longer serves us, but making those choices that allow us to align with our soul's path and destination. So with that, we are going to close for today, and just to say, have a beautiful weekend, and we will be back together on Monday at 10 a.m. live, and we will be back to doing some of our readings for individuals. So please have a wonderful, safe, lovely weekend, and we are blessed from the bottom of our hearts, and we're sending you lots of love. Thanks everyone for joining.